Hello everyone, welcome back to Tea with Jules. Today I am talking to fashion royalty, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit on the nervous side. I'm talking to the wonderful woman that is Carla Zampatti. She has been in the fashion industry for 50 years, making clothes that I wear, that I've dressed my clients in. The woman is a powerhouse. She's the original influencer. She is the kindest soul, and I absolutely loved our conversation. I got so many insights into running a business and fashion as a whole. So please welcome Carla Zampatti. Carla Zampatti, what an absolute honour to have you here with me today.
It's my honour. Thank you for asking me.
Of course, you're fashion royalty. That's what you are.
Oh, no. Nonsense.
I've worked in the fashion industry as a fashion stylist for about a decade, and I've worn your clothes and I've put your clothes on my clients. So you've been weaved throughout my career without me even knowing you. You've had a 50-year-long career in the fashion industry, which is kind of fast-moving.
Particularly in Australia.
You haven't always been in Australia. You were born in Italy.
I was born in Italy, but I came at the age of 9. When I first came to Australia, I kind of looked around for fashion and I thought, it doesn't exist. So I thought, this is an opportunity for me. I was a little kid, but I was very aware of who was wearing what.
Was it because of you, or were your parents sort of involved in that?
No, my parents were not, but I remember going to my mother's dressmaker with her one day when I was about 6 or 7, and I just loved the workroom, the atmosphere, the fabrics, and the creativity that was happening in that room. And I think that's when I said to my mother, one day I'm going to be a fashion designer.
When you decided, I'm going to put a collection together and release it out into the world, what were your steps in order to do that?
Well, firstly, trying to get a job in fashion was not that easy because it was a very long time ago and fashion hadn't advanced very far. So I got a job in a workroom, sort of finishing, putting buttons on, learning how professionally garments were put together. I also was asked by the head of admin to help out in admin, which was really good because I could see the whole area of the business, what that administration and running of a business is as important as the design and the creativity. And after that, I left, so I worked in public relations, I worked for a retail group and became their PR person, their frontline person, which again was a great learning curve. And eventually I had an enormous breakthrough when I came to Sydney. All that was in Perth, Western Australia. And fortunately enough, on my way home one night from work, the city, I sat next to a gentleman who happened to be in fashion, and he was looking for a PA. And when he said, do you know anyone who would be interested? I was delighted. I put my hand up. I did an interview because he wanted a PA typist as well, and my typing was pretty dreadful, but he gave me a job because I think he could see I could add value. And so I redesigned his whole collection. It went like a rocket.
Wow.
It sold really well. And after 9 months, I thought I'm ready to start my own business. But in the meantime, I made a lot of my clothes, and people used to stop me in the street and say, where did you buy that? So I had a feeling that the market liked what I was doing. I had to do it.
Back in those days...
65, sounds like
1965.
100 years ago. Almost.
It was a different time. It was a different era than
It's an
what
exciting
we are
time,
now.
actually.
Wow.
More women were thinking about their own careers, and that was exciting. Girls used to go shopping with mum before that, but it changed.
And it was a time where the internet didn't exist, social media didn't exist.
There was one fashion magazine, and that was Vogue, and there was another little one called Flair that doesn't exist anymore. So if you didn't get into those two magazines, either of those or both, you were a totally unknown. I then decided the only way I could communicate with my clients properly, because buyers would come and not select the things that I thought were really the best. So I decided to start a shop in Surrey Hills, and everybody said, "Oh, out of the way, no one will come." But it was reverse that. Everyone came, everyone wanted. It was the most exciting event that I did, because it opened up my eyes to what clients liked in my collection and enabled me to actually display my whole collection.
Yeah.
So that was a turning point.
What sort of woman came?
Forward-thinking women, career women, women who wanted to go places. They identified with what I was doing because I was wearing what I was doing, because I was one of them.
Your pieces seem to transcend era, age. They're timeless.
Scary.
It is the truth. So was it in the 70s that you opened your first boutique? Right up until now, where my mum wears your clothes, I wear your clothes.
Grandchildren, children and mothers.
That is rare and unbelievable that you can do that. Like, I would wear that jacket.
Yes. I was in Canberra. They were launching my portrait for the portrait gallery, and there was a 15-year-old wearing a jumpsuit I was wearing. She looked better than I did.
I don't believe it for a minute.
She did.
And that's what I love about your pieces. They fit so well. Everyone looks great in it. Everyone looks great in it.
And feel great. That's the most important. That's why I try samples, I wear them just to see do I feel comfortable in, do I enjoy wearing? Because I think you have to have a sense of, yes, I enjoy wearing this. This does something for me. Otherwise, why would you buy it?
It's true. You want to feel good in what you wear. Yeah. And you can keep your pieces forever. You just put them in your wardrobe and you keep coming back to them season after season.
I have seen women wear things that are 30 and 40 years old, and they look fantastic. And I think to myself, my goodness, they shouldn't last that long, but they do. We make them well.
Yes.
And actually, the fact that they are so dependable means that more and more clients come back for more.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And your clothes are made and manufactured here in Australia.
Absolutely.
I love that, Carla. That's mind-blowing.
The people who work in the industry are passionate about what they do. They're not there just for money. They're newcomers. They're the latest wave of migrants. It's a doorway for them to meet and find out more about the country and to create something for them. It's a skill set that they bring with them, and it's invaluable. My design team, for instance, one is Vietnamese and the other one is Chinese, and I'm Italian, so we all have a different take on ideas, and we discuss, and we all bring our own heritage to what we do. And that's really important. And my makers are either Chinese or Vietnamese. They used to be Greek and Italian, and now they've changed. And they're wonderful, passionate people. They care. They care so much. My sample machinists always come to my fashion shows and are so thrilled. I show them all the photos that we do. So they're involved. It becomes a family.
Yeah.
You build a relationship with makers. Although they are not my business, I look after them like they were.
How important is that in business, that loyalty you have between you, the boss, and your employees?
Vital if you want to produce a beautiful product. Really, there has to be a connection. There has to be and there has to be mutual respect. Mutual respect is very, very important.
And you're a bit of a trailblazer, because in the 80s, I'm going to call you the original influencer. In the 80s, you teamed up with Ford, and the synergy that you had together. So, I mean, a car company and a fashion brand coming together, you're way before your time, because that's happening all over the place, and, influencers are doing this now. But for you to see that then and be one of the first people to marry two brands together and have that.
I wish I had been the person to see that. In fact, it was Ford who saw it. I was very fortunate. I won the very first Businesswoman of the Year award in 1980, and I was so surprised because there were people like Maggie Tabra and all kinds of others, really, that I thought were way ahead of me. But anyway, they decided I was the one, I guess because I looked like a battler, you know. I don't know why, but anyway, it was fortunate because it gave me access to other women in business. It made me aware of the broader community in Australia of women, what they were doing. I already knew, but I just got to know a lot of them personally, which helped enormously. And Ford noticed we're looking for someone to actually represent their newfound clientele, which were women. They were finding more and more women who were buying their own cars. So there I was, a fashion designer, and a winner of a business award with a lot of attention at that time. And so that's why they asked me to do it, and I loved doing it. It was such fun.
How does it feel to you as an individual when you see, well, first of all, when you've opened your first store and you see women coming in and buying something that you thought up and that you made, and then you see it out in the wild walking around the streets and you see women wearing your pieces? How does that make you feel?
That magic happened a long time ago when I first started. I can remember selling to Grace Brothers, who were taken over by Maya. In Bondi, I got to know the buyer, and she put it in the window, and I kept driving past this window to have a look. And then, for instance, in Nigella, Lawson bought something from us and looked stunning, and stood up at the Opera House and said, I'm wearing an Australian designer, Carla Zampatti. I thought that was so kind and sweet, so we are in touch. It's such an honour that women want to wear my clothes. It really is. If a woman feels confident in what they buy from me, that makes me very, very happy.
And the fact that it's your name, Carla Zampatti, on the tag, on the wall, you know, like on the bag, that makes it so personal because you're a person. So you become the person that we're wearing.
And we now have glasses that have Carla.
Oh, they're good glasses. I was going to say that before.
No, they're cute.
They are great. You look fab always. And tell me,
Specsavers are doing that.
Oh, okay, Specsavers. Gotcha. Yeah, they're great. Tell me about this. You've got the Carla Zampatti Foundation where you are supporting now other designers in the fashion industry to go ahead and reach their dreams.
I've done very well. I've been very fortunate, and I think it's very, very important to give back. Now, the Foundation for Fashion has been really kind to me, and I think it's important as an industry for the country. And for supporting the kind of people I was talking about. We create employment, we create pleasure, and we add to the economy. And sometimes a little exposure in another country, in another college helps you, and that's what we're doing. Supporting one student to go to a college abroad. We're giving them an amount of money for them to live more comfortably in that space. And to come back and give back to Australia.
And what an opportunity for somebody who might not have ever had that experience before.
May not have had the extra money to go and do something like that and grow.
What a person to learn from as well. What a person to learn from. They'll be richer for it, absolutely. Now, you've got this amazing book as well, 50 Years of Fashion, which is beautiful. It's so you. That's what it is. It's like you in a book. It's such a beautiful expression of your journey through fashion, and it's so lovely to read and
Glad you like
to
it.
See all about it. Yeah, I love it. I love a good coffee table book. I love it. You know, all of us watching you have learned so much already, but if you could leave us with a message or your great pearl of wisdom, what would that be?
Follow your dream. If you love something and it seems unattainable, it's worth trying really hard to get there. Mine happened at 6 and I started my business at 25, so it's 19 years later.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
I felt at one point I would never get there. But I think it's important to follow your dreams, be determined and work hard. without working hard. And Australia is the best country to do it in. I'm such a convert to housing.
Yes.
It is such a giving country. It's such an opportunity. I have seen so many people succeed here that would not have dreamt or even trying to succeed anywhere else. So I think we are very, very fortunate. And if you have a talent, don't waste it.
Great message. Being a working mum, which I'm a working mum, I have two boys. Tough, right?
I thought it was tougher and yet not, because it was easier to get nannies to live in.
Mm-hmm.
I think today it's harder. So my first nanny was about 18 years of age, and she was like another child to me, but she was good. She had been trained as a nanny, and she looked after my first child like it was her own. And so I had live-in nannies for 12 years. The only way you can run a business. You can't do it any other way.
Yeah.
So that was good. But the biggest difference now, between now and then, is that at the time that my children were growing up or being looked after by a nanny, I was a little unsure that it was the perfect thing for them. Today you can feel assured that being a working mother is a positive. My children, when they were little, or when they were about 18, 20, they said, "Mum, it was so great you worked," because firstly you would have driven us mad with pushing us to do homework. And secondly, because you gave us the example of how to succeed, and all my children are successful, I'm proud to say. So they'll turn out all right, so don't worry too much about them. They will learn from you, and they have a more interesting life, a more diverse life, because you bring home the outside world, and I think that's really important for children.
That is so comforting to hear, really, because I think a lot of mothers...
Be reassured, you don't have to.
I think a lot of mothers need to hear that.
Quality time is the key word, not quantity. So whenever you have time with them, just make it a very special time.
Great advice.
I don't think you need it. I think you're all right.
I'm trying my best. Carla Zampatti, this has actually been one of my favourite days, for sure. I am so happy you came and had a little chat with me on the couch.
You make it so easy.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for your 50 years of wonderful fashion. And we look forward to many, many more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.